I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. After that, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll ask Alderman at Large George Payne to lead us in that, please.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and work for the citizens of Southaven, Lord. Lord, I want to bring the nation of Turkey and Syria up, Lord Jesus, and the earthquakes that went on there, Lord. I pray that you would send workers there to help those people, Lord, and that they would see your light in them, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for two meetings. One is the regular meeting on January 17 of 2023, and then the special meeting on January 25 of 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoop.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution amending Title 13, Chapter 12, Section 13 and 12M, and Chart 4 of the Commercial Zone Districts. Ms. Whitney Cook, our Planning Director.
Yes, sir. If you'll remember at the last board meeting, we kind of went over what this entails, and it is to place further restrictions and further guidelines on the allowance of hotels. We have not changed any zones, so the areas that they've always been allowed in, they're still allowed in, but it is with conditions instead of being permitted by right. The resolution you have in front of you just itemized those out, and again, very quickly, the three that we added on was, one, the identification of the most recent SRT chain scale. You have to identify what chain, what flagship that you're proposing to us, so we know, up front as you come in for approval what it is. Number two is you have to support a feasibility market study from a nationally recognized company. It identifies the need for this immediate area, not for the Metro Memphis area, not for DeSoto County, but for the Southaven area, so they can take a look here and see if it's something needed for that specific area, so we're not saturating the market. And C, it also allows for a 2-year period for the conditional use permit, because again, what we found is people are going ahead and moving forward, getting a flag on a piece of property, do not build on it, but they hold it so nobody else can get there, and that's all it's used for. So this will ensure that you move dirt within 2 years to have it done, and if not, we revoke it. They have to start from scratch, come back and submit again. Those are the three changes we're putting forth just to kind of help us further regulate and make sure that we're not causing blight or oversaturating our market with hotels.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Jerome, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, we'll need to open up a public hearing to let someone in the audience speak. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The floor is now open for the audience. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this change, proposed change? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak regarding this proposed change? Okay. Hearing or seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The public hearing is closed. Now, is there any other discussion among the board about the actual resolution?
Quick question, Whitney, how will this affect any current hotels that we have in Southaven?
If they
at
are
all?
already in motion, then they're allowed under our existing ordinance. I don't believe this one goes into effect for 30 days anyhow, so it will be for all new applications moving forward.
Okay.
If they apply between now and 30 days, doesn't go into effect until then.
let's say if there's a hotel now and they sell to a new chain or a new owner, then these new rules would go into effect.
So if it's a building that's already in place, it's just changing ownership, this would not affect that.
This would not affect it.
No.
Okay.
It will be for new construction only. And I mean, I don't know that there would be a way that we could put forth that type of ordinance for changes of ownership. Because if it's denied, then basically you're sitting there saying you can't open the hotel and then we
Right.
end up.
I'm not saying we
invading
should. I
buildings.
just was
Sure.
curious.
But wouldn't you still have checks and balances? It would still go through the planning commission and come back before the board if it happened within 30? What's the
Yes.
likelihood that there's something out there within 30 days?
Well, I can tell you right now, there's nothing, because anybody who wants to move forward with the planning commission hearing within the next 30 days has already submitted to us because the deadline has passed. I
Okay.
do not have any in place, so
So
there
nothing
will-
we
there
should be
won't be.
concerned about being rushed to get in
Correct.
before a deadline?
They've
or
already
something?
missed the deadline.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that what you're concerned about, or somewhat? Or?
No, I was just concerned about any existing hotel and then selling to another.
Well, now I will say with this one, the conditional use permit, that SRT chain scale identification factor on there, when we go into the conditional use permit hearing and they identify as an upper upscale or a middle upper scale, whatever they may be, that is what we're approving. So if they change ownership, they have to define that they're still in that category.
Okay.
In that change of ownership. So they cannot go down after a year and just sell it off to an economy brand or what have you. We will identify here and approve whatever that chain is at that SRT scale.
So this
criteria.
resolution will affect any current hotel that is here now from selling to a
No,
lower
she-
brand hotel.
No, what she's saying is if it's already before, it won't affect what's already
Right.
in the pipeline, but it's already been vetted in the current pipeline. So like if somebody came in, they were X number on the SRT scale, and then they sell to someone else, they can't come in and build a different hotel without going back through the,
Right,
is that
and
what
we
you're
can
saying?
just, yeah, we can deny them at that point. If they come in and try to rebrand after they're in the process. I think what George or Alderman Payne is asking is, say Holiday Inn over here off of Hospitality Lane comes in, changes ownership, and they want to downscale
Right.
their chain. We don't have those stipulations on them. This conditional use permit we're putting forward now puts that stipulation on there, so we have no controls of an existing hotel that rebrands.
Okay.
But now what you said earlier, just to make sure we're clear, if somebody came in, they're a certain scale, and then they sell to someone
Yes.
else, they have to build the same type hotel. They
Correct,
can't come
and
in
that's what this protects. He's referring to ones that are already on the ground that we didn't have the conditional use stipulations on.
But I thought when you approved one in the planning commission, it was approved based on certain criteria, like it's already been approved, not this, in the
Yeah.
past.
In
It
the
was
past,
approved
they were just
based on-
permitted by right without identification. That was the problem we saw, is so, like a C4 zone, somebody could come in and say, I wanna build a hotel. Well, by our ordinance, it was permitted by right and had no identification criteria put on it. So they could identify it, and they could come in and just say, well, you know, that brand didn't work out. Y'all have approved what it looks like, but instead of being Holiday Inn, it's an Avid. So they could change that. This stops that from happening from this point forward.
Except we did have some special guidelines that were in place
Correct.
for like the metro district and stuff like that.
Correct, yeah, the Metro District is a whole different animal. It has stipulations for a certain level and above that you have to be in. And then the other case we had a month or so ago with the one in front of the Parks Department, we put that stipulation in, which is kind of what set this in motion.
Okay. It doesn't sound like to me you're gonna have something
I don't believe so.
that's in the next 30 days it's gonna be an issue. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a resolution for sole source provider in the Southaven Police Department, Mr. Nick Manley.
Yeah, this sole source is for Southaven Police Department. It's for the BOLA WRAP 150 from WRAP Technologies. The total purchase is $91,760.25. It's a patent proprietary restraint mechanism that allow for police to restrain without using lethal force. So if approved tonight, this will authorize them to purchase this from WRAP Technologies and go ahead and put in service. It has 17 patents. It's made in America as well, and they provide the sole source letter, as you note tonight. So without, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but authorization for the mayor to sign the resolution, the police to make purchase of the sole source in accordance with 31.713 of the Mississippi Code.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Parks Department Professional Services Contract.
Yeah, this is a professional service contract with Lovelace Studios. It's for assistance with helping with the interior elements of the Snowden home. As you know, there was damage at the Snowden home from a pipe bursting. Insurance has made payment on majority of those, or the vast amount of those damages is now being redone, and this will authorize the professional services to assist with that process tonight for the Snowden home. So authorization for the mayor to sign the contract with Lovelace Studios.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for ratification of Utilities Department emergency repairs.
Yeah, there was a issue in December with the Gatewell Water Plant. There was a replacement of a motor that had failed, so as part of that, the repairs had to be made and purchased. Certain parts had to be purchased under emergency declaration under 31.713K. So authorization in the amount of $9,345. So authorization for the mayor to sign the resolution ratifying the emergency purchase is needed.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with Comcast for our Parks Department.
This contract was finalized this afternoon about 4:30, and the changes requested have been made to reflect Mississippi law, along with negating some or qualifying some indemnity provisions that were in the contract in accordance to Mississippi law as well. Those have been made and will be part of the amendment to the contract. The contract with Comcast is needed for the actual internet Wi-Fi service at the Snowden Grove or Bank Plus Amphitheater. The equipment and installation is ancillary, obviously to the service of Wi-Fi. So tonight, authorization for the mayor to sign the contract with Comcast so they can begin the Wi-Fi installation and hardware installation process for the internet, so it can be ready for the first concert at the Bank Plus Amphitheater. Because, as you know, the point of sale system and everything else will be running through the internet. So it is needed, and I think the quicker they get started, the quicker obviously it'll get done. But this will allow them to get that process started, and they'll work with IT to facilitate that installation and service.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a request for proposals for sanitation services, and I believe this is to cancel the RFP. Is that
Yes,
correct, Nick?
that's bad wording on my part. I apologize. Yes, terminate the RFP. The Waste Connections has opted to fulfill the final year of the contract in the accordance with the contract. So in the inflation clause or CPI index increase based that's in the contract as well. So we will have Waste Connections for one more year as part of the contract. That's the most efficient in reviewing this thing to do at this point. And we will then go out to RFP next year, and that's when we'll redo the RFPs for the service when their contract expires. One note I will make for next year, and we can talk about this more, is the law now allows for a 6-year contract with up to 4 1-year extensions. So the next contract will be ideally an amount not to exceed 10 years, assuming we do an incremental 1-year increase of the final 6 years. This was a 6-year contract. The next one will allow for 10-year if both sides can agree. But tonight, all that being said, just need authorization to rescind the RFP and stick with Waste Connection, or amend with Waste Connections for one more year.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
So when does the contract end now?
It's the same contract. The president of the company called me since we've met, brought this to y'all's attention that we got a letter. Basically, he reached out to me and indicated that they had no intention of changing any of the variables in the contract. They just want to let it ride through another year. So since we've met, he did reach out to me. So, and I questioned him again. No changes, no changes. So we feel like it's best for the city just to let it ride out with the same contract expiration date, which is next year.
Next year?
What is
April
it?
30, 2024.
And
So-
when do we plan on going out to bid?
Well, now we'll that's what we're doing tonight is canceling.
Canceling this
Yeah,
one?
and we'll wait until next year. So we'll start that process like we would normally, and probably do it a little bit early because of the market contingencies. But so yeah, we would do it. All we're doing tonight is we would do everything just like we would have done had we not gotten that letter.
Right, no, and I'm good with it. I was just
Yeah.
curious, if we know we're probably not gonna continue with them, are we gonna go out to bid? Wouldn't it take some time to approve all of that?
The-
Well, whether we stay with them or not, the contract ends, in, like Nick said, in April of next year. So we'll go back out for a new proposal, rebid it then, regardless of who. I mean, it'll be an open.
To take effect on the next day?
Right,
First,
yeah.
whatever
So
it is, yes.
typically, what we did in the past was we went to bid and sought proposals in December and January is when we advertised before the preceding year. So ideally, according if the mayor and board so desire, you go to bid or start advertising proposals in December, beginning of January. It gives you then 3 months to do the evaluation, you due diligence for the May 1, 2024 date for those proposals. So it'll come back before you probably November, December for approving the proposals, request for proposals. You'll then award February, March, just like we did in the past. That gives a 2-month time to do the due diligence and let them get to whoever that contractor is to get used to everything. So
And
the routes, sorry.
No, and so what we would probably do is do that. That's what we do under normal circumstances, because of the contingencies with trucks and all the equipment. My recommendation, based on the information I've been given, is that we would do it earlier than that. Maybe go 60 days earlier or something like that, just so it gives whoever does, well, first of all, it would attract more bidders, I believe. The second thing is whoever gets it, it would give them time to make the necessary changes they need to be able to handle our account in an efficient manner. So I would say just we'll go 60 days, probably go, we'll talk about that
That's
more,
fine.
probably at least 60 days more than normal, just to get a little bit extra time. Yeah. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for surplus equipment from our Parks Department.
Yeah, this resolution just authorizes surplus of a parks vehicle in accordance with Mississippi Code 172525.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is a continuing disclosure issue.
Yeah, this, as required by the Security and Exchange Commission, this will authorize Butler Snow to work with Edie McElwain to file a continuing disclosure for the bonds that have been issued by the city. This is the same thing we've done over the last 10, 11 years. So we'll be authorizing us to work with her on that for that disclosure. So we're in compliance with the SEC requirements for debt that has been issued by a governmental entity. Need an authorization for the mayor to approve the engagement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is ratification of Entergy's contract.
Yeah, during the ice storm last week, we had a request by Entergy to allow them to use our property at the arena for parking of trucks in the case power lines went down and they could mobilize quickly. As part of that, we went ahead and revise the agreement to our requirements. And Wes Brown went ahead and signed it based on the fact that they needed that in an emergency situation in the event ice did cause power outages. So tonight we just need to ratify the agreement and his signature due to the emergency nature of the storm last week for power within the city.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with ComServe Services LLC.
Yeah, this contract is with the Facilities Department. It'll authorize ComServe to provide annual inspections of each of our siren or tornado sirens within the city. It's a professional services contract. Obviously, we want to go ahead and get this in place as soon as possible due to the spring coming up with the weather. So tonight, you just need authorization for the mayor to sign the contract for ComServe LLC to do annual inspections and battery charge outs for the tornado sirens throughout the city on an annual basis. Or rather, I mean, the mayor or Dylan, either one to sign.
Make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion?
And this is for what, Nick? What'd you say?
Tornado sirens throughout the city.
Sirens?
Yes, sir. Sirens. How y'all are? I call them sirens.
You just had to go there, didn't you?
I did.
Siren.
I couldn't help
I
it.
was gonna let it go, and you just had.
I'm using the E probably incorrectly. I'm getting in trouble. Siren. Or
Remember, he went
tornado
there.
alarms,
You
tornado
just,
bells,
hey, you
tornado,
just showed
however
your,
you want to say
this
it.
is home.
Yeah, so tornado, I don't know, tornado bells, I guess. I'll go with that. What's that?
Tornado alert system.
Alert system, yes, the weather alert system.
We're gonna put one right in front of your house now, Charlie, just for that. That's-
It'll be serviced.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is an engineering work authorization for the new Airways and Guthrie Drive signal improvements.
Yeah, this was previously discussed. This authorization will allow for Civil Link to work and provide the engineering design and permitting services for the signal improvements along with the CE&I for the actual, once the bid is let, for the actual construction and oversight of the project. So tonight need authorization for the mayor to sign this work authorization in accordance with the master agreement with Civil Link for the for the engineering associated with the Airways and Guthrie signal improvements.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application we have is a subdivision application to create the Main Street BLSC subdivision. It's going to be on the north side of State Line Road, west of Airways. It's a two-lot subdivision, one containing 8.22 acres and the other lot containing 1 acre even. What you see up there, it's been a couple of years back that we approved an RV park with some cabins and things designed for it in place of what this was already zoned for, which was industrial. We felt it was a much better fit. So the site plan went through, but there were some formalities in that there was 3 different subdivisions involved. So at a previous meeting, we vacated all those lots out of that subdivision. Now we're merging all of those lots into this one large lot to allow for that RV park to come through. It is compliant with everything. The only stipulations on it that the applicant agreed to is all the signatures from the adjacent property owners must be gotten before they plat it. They agreed to that. Planning Commission voted unanimously in favor of it.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve item number 1 on the planning agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion on item 1?
Is this where you practiced football as a Steeler?
No?
Is it not? I think it is.
Maybe softball.
It's gonna be kind of behind
Greenbrook Gators.
the gas station on the
practice
northwest
field.
It's,
corner.
behind Berry Bush lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay, well, must have been later on down the road.
Get it right, Joel.
I know the area, the Park Place area was a heavily used practice softball. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It is.
It was football when
was.
I
it was, yeah.
was on the Trojans.
We should have demonstrated the
Okay, any other discussion on item one? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item number 2 is a request to revise the existing Bill LaRue Tullahoma Road subdivision, specifically Lot 6. It's gonna be on the east side of Tullahoma Road, south side of King Road. Right now, the property encompasses 1.83 acres. You'll see up there that the house on the existing lot is at the very east end. The applicant is wanting to subdivide it further to grant his daughter access to the other lot to build her house on. So the lots will then be 1.01 acres, and the second lot will be 0.82 acres. Again, as stated in the last application, all of the adjacent property owners must sign that revision to the plat before it's platted to ensure that everybody's been made aware of it. It is compliant with the comprehensive plan, and the zoning ordinance was recommended for approval and unanimously voted on.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve item number 2 on the planning agenda as approved tonight.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on item 2 by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Our final application is for a Scooters Coffee Kiosk to be located on the south side of Goodman Road, just west of the intersection at Malone. You'll see they actually own both of these lots. The one next to the convenience store is the actual lot where it's the building is going to be on. It is drive-through only. It's only 664 square feet, so it's a drive-through access only. They have bought the other lot and provided an ingress-egress all the way across to Malone Road, so there's 2 points of access. There were no comments on the building. It did comply with our requirements. There was some additional landscaping added in, some additional lighting added in, which the applicant did agree to. After those comments were made, the planning commission voted unanimously in favor of it.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve item number 3 on the planning agenda.
Second.
On item 3, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Next on our agenda is our mayor's report. I do need some action on one issue that's come up since the agenda was set. It's in line with the budget that that the Board of Aldermen set for this fiscal year. There was a plan to renovate 2 of our utility plants and also 4, which includes 4 generators, and we just need authorization to advertise for that project.
So moved.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. I want to give some commendations tonight. You know, obviously we had the ice storm recently. I don't know if people realize how taxing that is on a city. I know it's scary and dangerous for everybody, but it really puts a stress on the city. We have a lot of people that are working around the clock, both before the storm and during the storm to keep us safe. Obviously, our police responded to, you know, an unusually large number of accidents. They also are helping motorists and everything else on the roadways. Fire, obviously, is 24/7 ready to roll, so thanks to our police and fire. Utilities, you know, has some strange things that happen. Those crews, you know, are on call 24/7. And then our public works team really did an exceptional job this year. So I want to thank Robert Booth and his team. They were doing it again. When I say round the clock, I mean round the clock. They were exhausted. keeping the roads passable. And so we want to just commend them for a job well done. Also, I understand that MDOT really did an exceptional job assisting us on our roads this time. So we're thankful for MDOT's assistance in helping us all get through this storm, as safely as possible. Want to update everyone again. Y'all, the board authorized me to travel recently to Washington, D.C. regarding our sewer issue. Obviously, we've talked in the past about the lawsuit between the city of Memphis and the Horn Lake Creek Basin Interceptor Sewer District that has provided the sewer service for 3/4 of Southaven citizens since 1972. That pending lawsuit we'll know the results of that sometime in April of this year. It's a major deal for our city, as we've talked about. If we don't get favorable results, and ultimately if we do have to redirect lines to a treatment facility in Mississippi instead of the South Memphis treatment facility, it comes with a $232 million price tag. So the reason that I was in D.C. was to seek a piece of that funding to help us, because the more that we can get in some type of grant, the less it's passed on to the users, which it ultimately increases the cost, of our citizens. So our plan was to seek a combination of different federal programs to get us to $50 million in federal help. And so the report today is that the trip was, I've been on some trips to Washington, and I felt like nobody really listened, and I got back on the plane and came home and felt like it really was not productive. This one was not like that. I did feel like we had plenty of time with Senators Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith, as well as Congressman Kelly, and we met with the Corps of Engineers as well, and we talked about the different programs, and it was a time well spent. It was a good visit. They understand the significance of it, and so they gave us their ear, listened, and they assured us that they were on our team and going to go to work for us. So hopefully, we'll get some favorable results out of that eventually and get a key piece of that funding so it's not passed directly to our citizens. But that's the report there. And then just so everyone on the board knows, from the day-to-day operations, we are putting a letter. You may have seen the letter that I put out via social media channels to just do a summary of the history of this and why it's such a big issue, how it impacts our citizens. So that letter has been placed in utility bills, and so in the next week or two, that will start hitting every citizen. It'll be on a rotation, but eventually every citizen that we provide sewer service to in the city will get that letter. So it just gives them, information on where we are and the significance of the issue. As y'all know, the reason we've not done that to this point, we were hoping to be able to provide a solution to our citizens, not just alarm them about a problem without a solution. It's to the point now with the lawsuit pending that it's time that everybody knows that sewer charges are going to go up in Southaven, but we're committed, to continue to work, as I mentioned, on the trip to D.C. and through the state, and trying to seek funding to help soften that blow to where the impact is not significant for our users in Southaven. But that letter's going out, so be prepared to, get some calls about that, and obviously our water department is prepared for those calls. They're familiar with the issue and ready to serve our citizens and answer any questions. And that's all that I have this evening. So we'll move on. Next on our agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on the state.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our city attorney's legal update.
Everything I had.
Okay, passed over that. The next on our agenda is our utilities billing leak adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented on the state.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. Is this a business or a house? Was it like going into a drain or something? How'd they not miss? It's a lot of water.
Jeez.
think that's the biggest one yet.
That's up, we had that $15,000.
Did you wanna take it off? Or
Can we look into it?
you wanna make a motion to take it off and study it some more?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to take that off and.
Which one is it for the minutes?
It's the, to take off,
2583 State Line Road West.
Did you
Just
put
a-
that in the minutes, Andrea?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have a motion to
$8,000.
remove 2583 State Line Road from this docket. Is there a second?
Second, I'll second.
Second, by Alderman Payne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. That one was removed from the docket. So is there just any other discussion about the rest of the docket? And Ray, would you, Alderman, any other questions? Direct those to Ray.
Yep, I will.
And then Ray, would you get us all details on that so we can put it back on and review it in case it needs to be on the next docket? Thank you. Okay, if there's no other discussion, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is one claims docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the claims docket in the amount of $2,211,085.65, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
Make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is ongoing and potential litigation by and against the city, and specifically city police. Issues regarding the report, development of, or course of action regarding security personnel or plans, and economic development within the city, and interdepartmental personnel with no action. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.